Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard the Wright Flyer. This is your captain, Randy Wright speaking, and as always, I'm joined by my first officer, Jeremy Grapenton. Folks, this will be the final boarding call, so if you please, claim your seats, fasten your seatbelts, kick back, relax, and enjoy the show, while Jeremy and I go ahead and delve into the pre-flight checklist, because there really is a lot of news and information to get to before we may fully indulge you with your in-flight entertainment. Well, folks, yesterday in Manchester, New Hampshire, or not yesterday, but a couple of days ago in Manchester, New Hampshire, we witnessed the 8th nationally televised gutless opposition party presidential candidate debate. And if there is one thing that we can say is a common denominator between a vast majority of these so-called debates, it's that the moderators cannot seem to resist injecting their egos into the story. I mean, we had, what was it? What were the guys' names? I'm drawing a blank. I know
you had
one was
Raditz, Martha Raditz.
Yeah, Martha Raditz
David
and
Muir. Yeah.
Well, they injected themselves into the debate. But what did you make of Carson? My goodness, not going on cue and then whining about it.
You know, here's the thing with Carson. What he should have done when Ted Cruz looked directly at him and says, "I'm sorry," Carson should have accepted the apology and let it go at that. But no, he not only didn't accept the apology, but he wanted to continue to whine about it. Well, you see, we have this going on, and
yeah,
Mama didn't get me a glass of warm milk so I can go to sleep. I really, I thought, Carson, we've defended you. We have upheld your sense of integrity, or what we thought was your sense of integrity and upstanding character. But no, Ted Cruz does the right thing. Now we have to retract that, and that's fine. I'm glad that I have to retract it, because all that does is prove once again what my initial gut was telling me, that you are too weak to lead this country in the free world. If you are not willing to stand up and accept an apology when a man of nobility and character humbles himself to you, even though he had nothing to do with it, he took the high road and apologized again, and you threw it right back in his face.
Well, that's all right. We saw that the real estate tycoon and New York billionaire Donald Jackwad Trump stayed back in the stage to make sure that Carson wouldn't one-up him. And I thought it was funny when El Jefe clapped his shoulder. That sourpuss look on Donnie's face there.
Yeah. As if to say, you know what? Well, I'm going to the taco stand for my brother before you get to do anything. And Trumpunzel, he stood back. He stayed back because to me, it showed his arrogance.
Yeah.
Bleeding through that invisible hairnet of his, to where he wanted to make people wait, as if they had to wait on him, as if he was holier than thou.
Of course, that's what he believes.
Of course. Well,
that's absolutely what he believes.
Winner or whatever. I I don't know what I'm saying.
Right, he's now. Whatever he is.
I'm a whiner. Yeah. Tomato. I eat paste. Shut up.
Yeah, honestly. And then, so for Carson to do what he did just shows that he was shallow. And there were a lot of people who went up on Twitter after and said, Carson, just let it go. It looks petty. It's not as though Carson was going to win anyway. And I hate to put it bluntly like that. Well, no, I don't. I'm just going to put it bluntly. He wasn't going to win. He doesn't stand a snowball's chance in hell of winning. That is all there is to say about it. And then, so we get up onto the stage. And the first question is asked of, it was Cruz, wasn't it? I think so.
No, it was Trump.
Trump got it. Oh, yes, about his character and ability to, because he might nuke Denmark. Yes. Well, I got the best temperament of all. I eat Testament mints, and I contradict myself, and I built a tower, and people love my tower. Don't question the tower. I built it.
So let's see. You're going to benchmark your temperament due to the fact that you built a Trumpire and employed thousands of stormtroopers.
Yeah.
That gives
all
you
he's got.
Well, here's the thing. Let's look at every other business that has ever been created in the United States, and let's put your temperament up against people like, say, Henry Ford. How about let's put your temperament up against the individuals of Gibson Guitar Company? Yeah, let's compare your temperament to that.
I love their government issue beige guitars after the government raided them, the EPA.
Yeah.
But they didn't raid Taylor guitars, and you know why? Because they were major donors to the Barack Hussein Obama camp.
Yes. Now,
funny how that works.
Yeah, let's go back to this temperament that Donald Caesar Trumpist claims that he has. You know what?
Huh.
I've ran businesses. I've started businesses from the ground up. Am I as successful as you? No, because I have what's called integrity. Because I'm not going to compromise my principles in order to grow my business like you have done. But you think you have temperament because you've employed people. Well, that has nothing to do with temperament. Nothing to do with it.
Let's point out the fact that later in the debate, his temperament would be shown for what it really was. Mm-hmm. And it's surprising that it was El Jefe.
If that's not poetic justice, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
I think that test of his so-called temperament was actually a follow-up by El Jefe to him clamping his shoulder as to say, stand back, boy, I got this.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the last thing you want El Jefe doing, because El Jefe doesn't have anything, not even a bag of peanuts. But then we see that they try and pit Ted Cruz and Donald Trump against each other at the beginning, and then they go into the apology for Carson when they didn't get the fireworks that they wanted. I mean, yes, Trump stooped to it because he can't control himself. He's like a little child, petulant child.
Well, he's a totalitarian is what he is.
Yeah. So, but then Carson, as you pointed out, just stepped in the mud all over again, but tried to pull this thing. I love this. He called it the 105th anniversary of Ronald Reagan. 105th anniversary. It's like, and then he said birthday. It's like, yeah, I didn't know that my anniversary was my birthday. Okay.
My anniversary is on May 25th.
Yeah, mine's on May 23rd. So that's how that one works. But, Carson once again just was.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even understand why he's still running. And apparently there are reports coming out all over the place that his finances just aren't there, that his campaign is just collapsing. Absolutely collapsing.
I'm shocked and amazed that he didn't pull an El Jefe there. I mean, he almost did. He almost did when he said, keep mentioning my name so I can respond. Please mention my name. Please clap. For a second, when Trump was getting booed, I thought that El Jefe was going to chime in and say, "Please clap for Trump." that would have been great. I would have actually had a little bit more.
And what was up with El Jefe's hair? It looked like he was Dennis the Menace all of a sudden. It's like, seriously? What's with the cowlick there, El Jefe?
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, we know you can't tie a tie, but criminy.
This whole thing. I mean, and I honestly, folks, I'm going to be honest. I only watched about an hour of it. I found I didn't even watch the initial debate because I was unavailable to do so. I had this thing called a job, and I'm at work, so I can't.
How dare you? How dare you work? How dare you?
I'm sorry. I'll never do it again.
Yeah, I got to go join the unemployment line. Hold
right.
on.
Thanks. You know, but I watched it on YouTube, and the initial link I tried to find on it was actually pulled from YouTube at the behest of ABC. So they're the
so
ones
they
who
were
put
pulling like a Twitter, like they did with,
Yeah.
you know, Chuck Nielsen. I mean, really? Or Chuck Nellis? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what that? What?
Yeah,
Hey,
and here's the thing. Yeah,
hey, Twitter. I didn't recall a Gestapo band being on your wing there.
mhm. Well, I'll tell you what. Not only does this go for Twitter, but it goes for any other social media outlet.
Mhm.
If you attack other conservatives, true patriotic Americans, you're attacking us. And guess what? We've got their back. So
Hell yes.
the more of us you attack, the more of us are going to come out and pretty much lay to waste, because that's how we roll. That's how we operate. We are not politically correct. We're not going to bow to your whims. Oh, we're Twitter. We could suspend your account. You suspend our accounts, there will be 10 more that pop up in its place. You cannot silence us. You will not silence us. You will not silence the Wright Flyer or any other true conservative. Period.
No.
So you might as well stop trying. Resistance to us not being silenced is futile.
But they think they know what's best. I mean, Trumpy Longstockings can say whatever insulting thing that he wants to and mock, disabled reporters and journalists, but
and people that have better looking hair than him.
Well, that's almost everybody, but even me, who has no hair. But it goes to show that there is this double standard, and we're sick and tired of it. Honestly, quit it. Quit it, unless you really do want to become irrelevant. But then after we see that whole thing with Carson and Cruz is a class act, folks. There is no way to get around that or to deny that or to play around with that as the salivating mainstream media is attempting to. He is very much so a class act. And so after that, we see Trump try and kind of dig his heel at Cruz, saying Cruz didn't answer the question when they had asked him to attack Trump. Trump, hello, he was not attacking you because it doesn't do anything. But you obviously still think that you're on The Apprentice again. And by the way, how's that show doing? Oh yeah, that's right, it's canceled. So sorry, your 15 minutes of fame is over.
See,
it's done.
This is the other thing I noticed about the moderators. It reminds me of being in school and witnessing individuals who are complete cowards, and they're only
bullies.
They're worse than the bullies.
No. Hey, what I mean by that is, who are the biggest crybabies? The bullies.
Sure,
they can thrust out all this crap, but they can't take it themselves.
Right. But what I'm getting at is they're worse than the bullies, because at least the bullies will go up and handle their own business and do it themselves without anybody else.
Unless they're Trump.
Right. And these individuals, David Muir and Martha Raddatz, or Rat's Ass, whatever her name is, you're sitting there.
Radish.
You're sitting there.
She looks like a radish.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit more prunier than a radish, but
well, a rotten radish. I mean,
that works. You're sitting there and you're antagonizing. You're taking two individuals, or all the candidates really, and you're getting them to fight amongst themselves for your own amusement. Why? Because you cannot handle, like Randy said, taking it back. You want to dish it out, but the worst thing is you don't even want to dish it out yourselves. You want to have somebody else dish it out for you. You're cowards. You're flat out cowards.
Well, let's not insult cowards. They're less than human excrement, is basically what we could call them, because what they were doing was just absolute malarkey. It's all to push their propagandistic message. And, you know, we've discussed this, Jeremy, going all the way back to our first episode. This sort of nonsensical crap where they play this twisted game of semantics. They were trying to play gotcha games. And we saw that with respect to how Radish wouldn't let go of the North Korean thing, even though Ted Cruz had schooled her on it.
Yeah.
He literally schooled her on that issue.
Yeah. And then, of course, you know, Sleepy Dwarf Carson had to jump. Well, I want to talk about
North Korea. Yeah, when Mary Catherine Ham was asking him about, I don't know, something he should know something about, which is healthcare. Sorry, folks. That was just Pavlov's School of Journalism there chiming in. They're unhappy with what we're saying. I couldn't care less. But it just shows that, you know, that's the common denominator with respect to Carson. He's been whining since the first day. Every debate. I can't think of a single debate in which he hasn't whined.
We tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. Even speaking to his, good call. It was a great call for him when he took time off when one of his campaign members perished in that tragic automobile accident.
Although he had made it seem like he was stepping out permanently for that. That's the second time he's done that.
That's correct. That's twice. Now, we came to his defense on that, and then it turned right around and bit us in the rear
posterior
end. And I'm done with that. You get one chance. We come to your defense.
No. We're more fair than that. We give you 3 strikes, just as if you were a baseball player. But those 3 strikes have been had.
Yeah,
they're gone.
And the thing is, this is what gets me. These candidates, with the exception of Ted Cruz, these candidates have had things. They've had credible instances and events and statements that they've made. We've defended them on it. And they still want to turn around. Even other people who don't support them have defended them on it, and they turn right around and do the same thing, and then they blast the individuals just because they don't support them. Folks, you want to talk about this whole thing about this, facade of, Washington elitism and everything. Guess what? That's what it is right there. When you have a candidate, and who are the biggest ones regarding this? Carson and Trump. And they have never even been elected officials in Washington, D.C. ever.
Hey, you want to know who handled something with class? Carly Fiorina has been classy.
Yes.
I got to hand it to her.
Yes.
Even coming out and thanking Cruz when Cruz took that step to say, hey, she ought to be on that stage. She should have been on that stage. She's more credible than Carson.
Which, by the way, I don't think any other candidate has came to her defense about being on that stage other than Ted Cruz.
No, not a single one. You know what this goes back to, Jeremy? You remember when we applauded Ted Cruz for reaching out to Scott Walker when he dropped out and said, hey, I'm going to help pay for that?
Yes. And this is just another prime example of Ted Cruz's integrity and charismatic character. And for him to say, and folks, if this is not proof positive of him doing as he says he's going to do, there's nothing else. If he's willing, see, this shows me that Ted Cruz doesn't care who's on that stage or not. He's not afraid of anybody on that stage.
Of course not.
He is not afraid of a single individual on that stage. In fact,
and guess what? I'll tell you why. Because I can speak for this from a little bit of personal experience. Now, folks, I'm not tooting my own horn here, but I did 1 year of debate in high school. And I went to nationals my first year. Unheard of. First in my school's history to do that. My school was known for taking championships for 10 plus years when I went in. It's when you compete at that caliber, it doesn't matter who you face. You are excited to be on that stage to face the challenge because you know what you believe, you know what your arguments are, and you know you're going to do what's necessary to get your picture across. In fact, when you're playing at that level, it doesn't even matter to you whether you win or lose.
Because at that point, you come to the realization that it is not about you. It is about what you are saying. And who it is about is we the people.
It's always about something greater than you.
And Ted Cruz is the only candidate that I've ever seen put something greater than himself first. Always. Always. Ever since he has been elected, ever since he finished law school, became Solicitor General of the state of Texas. It's always been
something. Which is no easy feat, mind you, folks.
It has always been him putting something greater than himself first. He puts himself last. And it speaks to volumes if you listen to him speak. If I'm elected president, not when I'm elected.
When.
If I'm elected president, meaning that he is aware and cognizant of the fact that it is up to we the people to elect him. That means
that was the first answer he gave in this debate. It's up to the American people. It's not up to me whether
it's not up to the moderators,
qualified
it's not
or
up to
not.
The other candidates.
Right. It's up to the popular sovereigns. Isn't it funny how that works?
And again, I want to reiterate
folks, is that the American people are the supreme sovereigns, and that Ted Cruz wholeheartedly understands that.
And I just want to reiterate to the residents, the voting populace, and the caucus goers of New Hampshire, you only have one choice to live free or die. One choice. If you haven't been paying attention, if you haven't been paying attention to the debates, to the candidates, you better start, and you better start now because the caucus is tomorrow. You have one,
not caucus, primary. I don't think they're
the primary.
Yeah,
the primary. So you have one chance, one choice, one chance.
Don't screw it up.
If you are a resident of the state of New Hampshire and you truly love your state and everything that it embodies, embrace your state motto, live free or die.
That comes from another lawyer, Patrick Henry.
Mm-hmm. And this
when you look at the history of the United States, there were several great lawyers that stood up for us. John Adams, even though I disagreed with a lot of what he did as president, he was a true patriot. John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, Patrick Henry are the three top lawyers that come to mind. And they understood the risk, that everything was on the line. And they were the ones that believed that sacred honor went before everything. And you know what Ted Cruz showed during that debate? That sacred honor means everything to him.
Mm-hmm. And the sacred honor begins with we the people, the true sovereigns.
Of course it does. Of course it does. It absolutely does, because it has everything to do with the people. That was what was so revolutionary about what our founding fathers did. Because up until that point, sovereignty had always been restrained to one individual, and that individual was the king, or in England, it was a little more advanced. It was the king with the permission of Parliament.
Mm-hmm.
But we in the United States took it a step further. We said popular sovereignty, meaning the people being the sovereigns, that's everything. It's absolutely everything. That was so new. That was unheard of.
It's just, and I want to strike out as something else here. Okay. All the people that, we're tired of lawyers running this country and this, that. You know what, folks? Here's the thing. You have lawyers Then you have ambulance chasers, charlatans, frauds, so on and so forth, all pretending to be lawyers.
Well, here, let's take it a different way. There's attorneys and then there's lawyers.
That works.
Lawyers are the ones that sit there and try and twist the law. Attorneys are the ones that sit there and realize that there is absolutely a set code of principles. The natural law.
The law is absolute. Natural law is absolute, period. 2 + 2 = 4. Therefore, it's the same as the United States Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and it will be upheld, regardless of what your political beliefs are, regardless of what your political bent is. The Constitution cannot and will not be compromised, period.
Right.
One of my professors that I had is an attorney, and I'll refer to her as attorney. I have great respect for her. Her and I do not agree completely politically. She has made mention to me that she is a Democrat voter. However, there's one common area that both of us will not budge on, and that is the United States Constitution, period.
Yeah, and that's the way any real attorney will be.
And to me, that speaks volumes worth of integrity over what anybody's political bent is or what their political issues are.
Well, take, for instance, the very radical left-wing Dershowitz. Dershowitz is a true attorney. Dershowitz admired Ted Cruz, who was a student of his, by the way. And I've had that happen. When I was an undergrad, I had a very radical left-wing professor, but he went so far as to say that I was one of the most well-read students he had ever had. And he would stand up to me, or, for me at any given opportunity. When you can win that kind of respect, it tells you that those people are looking at it through an integral aspect, through an integral lens. Dershowitz was the first to come out and defend Cruz, saying that he was absolutely a qualified citizen. And folks, we've gone over that statute time and again. I'm sorry that Trumpy Longstockings has a little bit of trouble with statutory construction. I'm sorry that Geraldo Rivera and his long-lost twin duffel bag there, Anna Coulter, can't seem to read the statute. Yeah. It just goes to show that they don't have integrity, that they are trying to read the law to fit some agenda. Now, folks, if you go back and you listen to past episodes that we've done here on the Wright Flyer, if there was anything that would give us a question about Cruz's qualifications, we'd be all over it.
Absolutely. We would have found it and we would have brought it to light and hammered on it.
Oh, yeah.
Why? Because we understand that it is up to us, we the people, the true sovereigns, to hold individuals accountable. If they want to put their hat in the ring and they want to run for a public office, they have to be willing to be held accountable. And again, the only individual that is a true testament to that is Ted Cruz. Now,
I want to jump on something there. Let's go to the fight that happened between Hamburger Christie and Marxist Dumbo Rube E-I-E-I-O.
Christie's new Reuben sandwich.
Yes. Because Rubio really did have a 5-minute memorized speech. That was pathetic. And he fell into the trap. And I love how Rubio was there wearing a red tie. He was like the only one wearing a red tie.
Carson had a red tie too. But I think that was just because...
Well, Carson just does not come across as aggressive. I mean, maybe it was a red tie to wake him up.
Yeah, that's what I was driving at. Keep him awake. to keep his
And that was the
attention.
other thing. Rubio can't tie a tie either. I mean, if you're going to do a full Windsor knot, please do it up all the way so you can't see the top button, please. I mean, do we really have to send these people back to cordiality class? Or I bet they haven't even had it. Do people even do cotillion anymore? I know I had to when I was growing up.
See, and this begs the question, just on a side tangent here, regarding Rubio. I know he has been asked about this, but I'm willing to bet he'll be asked again about issues pertaining to North Korea and Iran and this and that. And if he gives the answer, well, I'm going to tie their hands, guess what? That's not going to be a viable answer. You can't tie a knot. How are you going to tie somebody else's hands? It's just not going to work. It's not going to work at all. You probably can't even tie.
You know
your
what's
shoes.
funny about it? You want to know what's funny about it, Jeremy? His mentor was El Jefe, and El Jefe can't tie a tie either.
Sure. You know what? I have an idea for a capitalistic venture.
What, clip-on ties for them?
Oh no, Velcro ties. It will match their shoes.
Oh, good heavens!
Velcro ties. So, but anyways, back to the skirmish between Hamburger and his newly found feast, the Reuben sandwich. You know, I have to say, with regards to Rubio, guess what? Your whole stance on illegal aliens. Sorry, you're trying to Farouk the United States with your gangbang of 8 nonsense. Knock it off. Just stop, okay? We don't want to see it. We don't want to hear it. You screwed up. Admit you screwed up. Stop trying to backpedal and put sugar on something that's covered with flies.
Yeah, it's a honey trap, that's for sure. And, you know, Rube EIEIO's problem is that he just doesn't have any convictions. He never has. He shakes hands like a wet fish, and I can say that from personal experience. He was the commencement speaker at my law school graduation. It was terrible. He just doesn't inspire me at all.
I don't even think he inspires his own shadow.
I don't think so.
That's pretty bad. I mean, there's no inspiration there at all.
Yeah, no, there's none.
I've got a feeling that many of his supporters have actually become stowaways on our show without us knowing, and have raided the push cart for the alcoholic beverages. It's just, it's unreal. And again, that is a testament to the fact that the only candidate that's on any stage at this point that has finished what he started, has done what he said he's going to do, and will do what he says he's going to do, is Ted Cruz. The only one. Yeah. Donald Trump, I built this, I built that, and I created jobs. We're going to bring jobs.
Just for men doesn't count.
We're going to make second place again. Great again. Blah, blah, blah. Stop whining. You can't even answer a simple question. They're talking about things that actually matter, like the security of the United States and the protection of the sovereign individuals. And you're talking about jobs. Jobs don't mean anything when people's rights are
but you know, Jeremy,
thrown away.
The Governor Scott of Florida, who's now apparently brilliant, came out and said that what people want to hear about is jobs. And that's who I'm going to support. Jobs, 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 jobs. No. Go back to the Constitution. You want to know why there's not any jobs in this country? I think it has to do with the fact that we're not following the Constitution.
Follow the Constitution.
In fact, I know that's why.
You follow the Constitution. Everything is done in a constitutional fashion. Everything else will fall in place naturally where it belongs. Jobs, unemployment rate goes down, housing market goes up, the debt goes down, the markets correct themselves. This is what people don't understand. The reason why everything's all in a haywire in total chaos is because the Constitution has not been followed. It's been trampled on, and in order for it to keep perpetuating that way, in order for their agenda, no matter what presidency it has been or regime in the past 100 years, with the exception of Coolidge in the first term of Reagan, when the Constitution is not followed, they have to continually violate the Constitution in order to keep things on an even keel, to keep perpetuating the crap that they're doing. It's, the whole tangled web theory. A lie after a lie after a lie. You have to keep building on the lies in order for the truth to not be exposed, because once it does, your whole web of lies becomes unraveled and is nothing.
Exactly so. Exactly so. And it just goes to show that these people that are on the left, or that are, claiming to be the right, but are doing everything in their power to help push this stringent left-wing ideology, just don't care about the country at all, whatsoever. They have their own agenda, and that's all that matters. And you could see that with John Kasich when he came out and said, well, we can't break up families. I'm a mushroom. John Kasich.
Yeah. Him and his little flippers at the end of his arms directing people to their seats. I've never seen, and I understand people, utilizing their hands when they talk. I do it.
I do it.
He does it. But it seems that, if at any point possible, any of the candidates were to tie up John Kasich's hands, he would turn. He'd instantly turn into a bobblehead. Then they'd have to take a commercial break, and a timeout, so Trump's new hairstylist Sarah Palin could come in and fix Kasich's coif and maybe hairspray it down with Aquanet and everything, because it would be a catastrophe, folks. It really would. It's annoying, and I know it may seem petty and childish to think about that and to even bring this up, but it speaks to the whole overall. It's an observation. If I have an individual that is trying to direct traffic, okay, and direct people to their seats, stand up, kneel, sit down, you switch seats, this and that, it's like a Chinese freaking fire drill. If he can't even manage that, how is he going to manage, a possible attack on the United States from enemies that want to destroy
I wouldn't break up families. I'm John the Mushroom Kasich.
What he would do is he would make sure that their families are safe first, and nobody else would matter.
Well, you know what this goes down to, Jeremy, is that he said that he should have run in the Democrat primaries. No one's disputing that, Johnny. No one's disputing that.
Single most smartest
intelligent thing he said. Yes.
Bernie may disagree as he pours another shot of the sauce, but
I have to yawn at Bernie. Because he's just that. My fellow Americans, I believe in the sauce, and if you don't drink it, you're not standing up for America. But you've got to pay for it. I can't pay for it myself. I mean, that's not fair.
Well, guess what? He's going to get some great sauce when him and Hillary decide to, when they engage in their debate here in the city of Flint, Michigan next month, according to the DNC.
Please tell me that the water there is going to be tap.
Oh, I'm hoping so. Hey, you know what? Come on in, pull up a chair, grab a nice big tall glass of Aqua Flinta, and we'll get the show on the road.
Well, Jeremy, there's something historic about this. This is right before you start law school.
Mm-hmm.
I got to tell you something. Right before I started law school, right before I graduated from college, this was in 2008. Barack Hussein Obama and Hillary Rotten Clinton had a debate at UT. At my little condominium that was right across the street from UT, because I went to school at St. Edward's University, I watched their motorcade drive past. So just think, this is a sign that you will go to law school and that you will get your law degree. Because it's just repeating itself.
Yeah, history at its finest.
Uh-huh.
Awesome. I like it. It gives me a little bit more hope now.
Yeah.
But
that's what I'm here for, to inspire you. Let's just hope it doesn't mean that Hillary and or Sanders gets the nod this time around.
But that's the caveat. There's the caveat, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, folks, it's again, we at certain points in time we have to laugh at things like this, because if we don't, well, we'll become storm trumpers ourselves, or become a member of the tinfoil triad, whatever the case is. We do it so that we can keep our sanity, because if we don't have our sanity, that means that it's going to be projected onto you all, and then you all will lose your sanity. Then everybody will lose their sanity, and this whole world will be nothing but an insane place to live. We have to have this kind of banter as an alleviation of the dumb faruquery, that is, been cast our way. We have to read through it. So pull up your waders, folks, because it's going to get deep.
Speaking of deep, I loved how Chris Christie was sitting there saying that somehow governors are more qualified to be president than senators. Except that if you look back at our history, there were a lot of senators that made presidents.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them were actually damn good presidents.
Sure.
Not every governor is a good governor. In fact, let's talk about one governor that wasn't. Oh, William Jefferson Clinton. Was he a good president? No. Let's talk about another governor that wound up not being a great president. Teddy Roosevelt. Was he good president? No. Let's see. You just look at all of it. And then the love fest that was between Governor Christie and Governor Kasich. We have the two most left-wing candidates up there. I mean, they actually make Marxist Rube EIEIO look right-wing. And I didn't think that was possible until you look at the hamburger and the mushroom. So you have portobello mushroom and you have hamburger. May make a combination for a great meal, but it doesn't make a combination for a great presidency.
Good sauce. A good sauce every once in a while. Smothered.
I'm Bernie Sanders, and I support the sauce. It's good shit stuff,
Now, before I forget, I do want to give credit to Rube EIEIO for
saying that Obama got stuff wrong. Oh yeah, and defending Cruz.
Defending Cruz. Now he was right about Obama getting things wrong, and he is correct in the essence that Obama does know exactly what he's doing.
He just didn't deliver it well.
The delivery was not there. Trump, the totalitarian that he is. Oh, Obama doesn't know anything. He doesn't know what he's doing. If he knew what he was doing, no, he knows exactly what he's doing. You have to remember, Obama studied the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like what Sun Tzu says, going back to him. To understand your enemy, you have to study them.
Mm-hmm.
The enemy of Obama and the Fabian socialists is the
freedom, liberty, and the Constitution.
The Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to understand how to dismantle your enemy, you had better know your enemy. He knows the Constitution. The problem is he doesn't care about it because he wants it destroyed. See?
Well, I don't think Trumpy Longstockings cares about it.
No, absolutely he doesn't. But see, here's the thing, Trumpy Longstockings. We know about you. We understand you. We have no problem destroying you because we've done it numerous times. In fact, you don't even need our help to destroy yourself because you do it every time you open your flap gate. Every single time. When you do your little comb over and then you flip it back over the other way, you do your little hair flip like you're walking around on one of your Miss USA, runways there, strutting around. I built the runway. It's made out of gold. And back I have a gold cross. I won't nail myself to it because I'm too good for it. No, here's the thing. We understand you. We understand every single candidate. It is our job and obligation as sovereign citizens of the United States to understand you. Because if we don't, then we can't hold you accountable for your transgressions when you commit them. Problem is, you don't want to own up to your transgressions. Christie, I believe, no, it was Bush, El Jefe, even called you to the carpet.
Domain.
He on eminent domain. Guess what? He nailed you 3 times. 3 times he showed you and put you in your place and showed you and gave me the impression that he has more authority than you. He is more dominant than you. The clasping of the shoulder, the attack on you of the eminent domain, and then putting you in your place. I forget the third one. Oh,
again, it was still on eminent domain. It was when Trump didn't even get that Bush answered him in one word. Yes, it's public works.
Yes.
With the Keystone Pipeline.
Yes. So, again, Trumpikins, how do you expect to be the leader of the free world? What are you going to do? I'm going to create more jobs, bring all the jobs. Well, bring the jobs back from China. Bring them back from Japan. Bring them back from all over the world, in Mexico, wherever they're at. But, there's an inherent problem with that. When you do that, we're going to have an influx of individuals that want to come to the United States. More than what we have with illegal aliens coming here. Why? Because they're going to do it under the guise and auspice of work visas. It's going to open the floodgates for terrorists to come in under the guise of, well, we're coming here for jobs because America is prosperous again. Donald Trump made second place great again. So we're going to come in, pretend to work, and then bam. Guess what? Extreme chaos and terrorist attacks on our soil because of you. Because you have no way to vet these individuals. You have no way to take care of the problem. You want to build a wall. Isn't that counterproductive if you want to bring a bunch of jobs back and create openings for other people to flock to the United States?
Of course it is. But since when has logic meant anything to Trump or the Trumpster divers? It hasn't.
Never. And it never will.
No. And, it just goes to show that literally what matters here is the Constitution. And who was it that was the only one that mentioned the Constitution time and again during that debate?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say Ted Cruz.
Yeah. And you'd be absolutely right. Ted Cruz stayed steadfast. And meanwhile, we still have Fox going out on a limb saying that, Rubio got third place again. It means he won. Wrong. Fox, you are becoming irrelevant when you keep having canned ham Karl Rove,
Mr. Buckethead,
who spells his name Karl Marx, basically. You've lost all credibility. I mean, seriously. What? Marxist Rubio? Seriously?
Well,
Marxist Rubio is about as qualified as a dog catcher to run this country. He's just not.
Well, that goes back again to the people he aligned himself with, the gangbang of 8.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just...
Which included John Cornyn. Hey, John Cornyn, resign.
Now.
Do the world a favor and resign now.
Because here's the fact. Rubio doesn't even understand. And he keeps making this assertion that, well, the law's been passed. The legislation was passed. It's just not being enforced.
No, it wasn't.
Blah, blah, blah. Well, correct. It wasn't passed. But he says that it was. But he wants legislation passed. How about the legislation that we already have on the books pertaining to Title 8 U.S. Code sections 1323 through 1329? Immigration and naturalization laws.
Now, don't confuse him with real laws and facts.
But
Rubio
please,
may have gone to law school, but he's just not that intelligent.
I don't get this. These individuals, they say these things, but yet, wait, I know why they say it, because they think that the American people are dumb.
Are stupid, yes.
And
That's
they
what
think that because they say these things, that the whole entire population is not going to check into these things. Well, guess what? Individuals like myself who pride themselves on research and digging up the facts and the truth, no matter how ugly that truth may be and how damaging it may be to anybody, regardless of who they are, the truth has no agenda.
Never has, never will.
Never has, never will. And we here at the Wright Flyer are about nothing more than just the facts, period. If Ted Cruz was on the other foot spouting this stuff, guess what? We would go after him as well. Yeah. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter what letters next to their name. It doesn't matter what they say in regards to legislation on the books, this and that. Show me. Mm-hmm. Show us. Mm-hmm. Rubio, Christie, El Jefe, Donald, Carson, they all talk a good game. They're saying what people want to hear. They're not saying what people need to hear. That's the difference. And when you come across individuals like Randy and I, and this great group of individuals that we're associated with on Twitter now, individuals like the voice of Paul Revere,
Don Costella. In fact, Don Costella has been a great friend and compatriot of mine for well over 9 years now. He joined me when I was doing my first outing into radio, or internet radio. Folks, this was back in 2007. So that was really in the pioneering days.
Again, Red Nation Rising. Rising Tide, spelled capital T, lowercase I, capital E, capital D, as in Rising Ted. These individuals, folks, I'm going to tell you,
they're incredible. They're true Americans.
True Americans. And, we couldn't ask for anything more. And it's not that they're doing this to boost their own follower count on Twitter or this. They are spreading the message that we bring because they believe in the message. They have the same message. It's kind of, I can't remember who the inventor was. I want to say it was Watts. That said that in order to get things accomplished in a meaningful fashion, one person doing 100% of the work is much more exhausting than 100 people doing 1% of the work.
Right.
This is exactly what we have here. Folks, we've only been involved with Twitter for 8 days. 8 days. And already we're seeing a groundswelling of support and true patriots and American conservatives uniting and taking the battle to the forefront to protect our freedoms, liberties, and our Constitution. And above all of that, our true sovereignty as we the people. It's amazing. I'm blown away by it.
Oh, yeah. because it shows that people still care about the United States of America. We can't escape the fact that the American people hold the key to saving this country. And that's the one thing that the Cruz camp really understands. And that's why he said that it's the people that count.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, you see Kasich sitting there saying, well, I created a surplus in Ohio. Yuck, 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 yuck. But we shouldn't separate families. Yuck, 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 yuck. Go back to Ohio, Kasich. You were worthless when you subbed on the O'Reilly factor. You would be worthless as president. Ohio is one thing. The United States of America is another thing. And I'm going to say the same thing to crispy hamburger cream. New Jersey is one thing. The United States of America is quite another. And that's why I laugh whenever you say, well, being a governor gives you experience. No, it doesn't. Nothing gives you experience to be president of the United States, because there's nothing like it. Nothing.
You do not have the experience to be president until you are president, period. That's all there is to it. There's no other way around it. That's how it works. I can't go around claiming to have experience as a lawyer because I'm not a lawyer yet.
Yeah.
Do I understand the law better than most lawyers? Yes, I do, because I take pride in researching it and educating myself on it and putting the effort into it.
But as a lawyer, I can tell you that's still not the experience of what it takes to be a lawyer.
It doesn't even come close. But
you'll get it. You have to go through it. That's why lawyers that look to law students that say, oh, I'm so excited about going to law school, we just smile and we nod because we know no matter what we say, it's not going to change. It's not going to change your desire to go through it. And then when you're done, you're going to sit there and say, holy crap, why didn't you tell me it was like this? And we're going to say, we told you. You just didn't know. Welcome to the club. Mm-hmm. Now you know.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. You know, folks want to say, oh, I'm a leader on this, I'm a leader on that. Trump, especially. I have leadership skills. Stop with the business crap, okay? Just stop. Because, quite frankly, it's getting annoying. Now, I have a business degree. I do know a thing or two about business. I understand. I can look at a business plan, a business model, and within studying it for 5 minutes, I can tell you if it's going to work or not. Because I have the experience of utilizing different business models. I have that experience. I have the experience of being a leader as well. Just not to the magnitude and the portion of President of the United States.
Right.
It's just, it's not there. And quite honestly, folks, I have no desire to be president of the United States. I've had people ask me. You throw in the word yet. It still remains to be seen. Of course. And I appreciate that. I really do.
After me, of course.
Yeah. My point simply is this. If you're going to make claims and assertions of things that you have when you don't have them, that makes you a fraud.
Mm-hmm.
Translating business leadership into being the leader of the free world. Do you even understand what it entails in the term free world? Leader of the most sovereign nation on the planet. Do you know what comes with that?
Here, folks. I'm going to give you a hint here, folks. It's not how many times you declared bankruptcy.
Or how many parking lots you wanted to build for your limousines or any of that nonsense. That has nothing to do with it. You know what? If I had a fleet of limousines, I'd like to have a parking lot and a parking garage for them too. Would I do whatever I could to get it done?
With the wooden planks that you build up on the wall of a building.
Scaffolding. Just scaffolding with dumb waiters.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, realistically, Donald J. Trump, stop. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how much monetary and business influence you have with other people. And for this nonsense to say, well, people come to me to get things done. No, people come to you because they want your money. They don't want you to have anything involved in their dealings other than to write them a check. Period. That's it. They are using you, and you are too stupid to realize it because you and your arrogant hairpiece
doesn't care.
Your Aquanet arrogance has muddied up your follicle holes on top of your beady little head to where you cannot understand simple thinking at all. You cannot understand it. People are not coming to you because they want to do business with you and they want to buddy with you. They are coming to you because you have money. That's it. They only want one thing. They can care less if what you say about their company or business endeavor makes no difference. And for you to sit there and try and use that as some kind of experience and some kind of credential is
That's
absurd.
like saying, hey, I went through bankruptcy. That lets me know federal law.
Which is why I can violate it 4 times in 11 years. I mean, let's get real.
We do this because it's so important. It really is important. Donald J. Trump speaks a good game. When he speaks coherently, that is, which is rarely. But it comes down to, when you actually look at the substance, there's nothing there. There's nothing there.
All he's doing is perfecting the art of the squeal. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. He is perfecting
he's good at that.
Of the squeal.
He's very good at that. And speaking of that, Rand Paul, please do me a favor. Go up to your father and slap him, please. After that little whole thing about, Cruz is owned by the bank. No. Go back to gynecology. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess he won't go back to that. I guess most of his patients were too creeped out. I mean, would you want a yard gnome digging in your nether regions? I'm sorry, folks. That's crass of me, but seriously,
so what?
Is this guy trying to pull out his relevance again? And you know what's funny? One of my, all right, folks, I'm gonna get personal here. My parents are physicians, and one of my parents' former neighbors in their office building was a close friend of the family. He went to school with Ron Paul. He went to med school with Ron Paul. He said, I wouldn't want that guy anywhere near me. I can't help it. It's just there.
Well, if the Paululins had their way, their army of garden gnome tinfoil triad members would be able to take over the world. I mean, first they'd start with the Bilderbergers, then they just take over.
Money bomb! I win the debate. Shut up.
They have a standoff. They create a standoff at the Federal Reserve. There's what, 9 or 12 Federal Reserve banks in the United States, something like that. They have all these. You know, I cannot latch onto the notion of individuals that want to run these conspiracy theories. Remember when Ron Paul was running for president? Well, we have to audit the Fed. We have to audit. Guess what? The Fed was audited numerous times. Times. The Fed's never been audited. We need to audit the Fed. Bilderbergers, I won the debate. No, you don't. You lose. Money bomb. I mean, come on. I'm and it drives me nuts. It drives me absolutely nuts when these individuals want to step on stage and speak to we the people, the sovereigns of this nation, and nothing comes out of their mouth other than oratory diuretic sludge and moon battery. It's
Good
just
term for it.
It's very unappealing. We the people are hungry. We're hungry to feast on freedom and liberty in a good way.
Yeah, we're tired of the shackles of government. We're tired of the shackles of despotism. We want to see our country go back to what it was to begin with, what it was that our founding fathers had this image for. And the only way that we're going to do that is to realize that the federal government is meant to be the most limited form of government of all.
We want to feel the sense of freedom, liberty, and justice and our rights coursing through our veins. You know, here's a way to look at this, folks. You know, I drink these Monster energy drinks, and not to give a shameless plug to the Monster, you know, company or whatever, but
you want to hear something funny about that, Jeremy? That's Michael Savage's son that started Monster Energy Drink, so really? You're supporting Michael Savage.
Oh, great. But hey, you know what? I can't wholly support him because they don't do a damn thing for me. I just like the taste of them. Okay? Yeah. Now, I drink anywhere from, I don't know, probably 3 to 6 of them in a day, depending on what day it is. They don't give me any energy whatsoever. But the whole premise behind them, they're supposed to be energy drinks. People take them because they want to feel invigorated. They want to feel alive. They want to have ambition again.
Yeah.
Let's look at the Constitution as the ultimate energy drink. It is the ultimate energy drink. It will revitalize people's energy and
it'll give you wings.
Well, you know, wings aren't such a bad thing, my friend. I tell you, they're really not. But if they're utilized properly, my point is simply this: we the people are hungry. Our energy has been sucked away from us. It's been depleted. We want that energy back. We want to feel it coursing through our veins again.
Mm-hmm.
The Constitution is the ultimate energy drink when it comes to this kind of stuff. There's no other. Not only will it give you wings, but it will give you wings that are armed with like 50 caliber submachine guns and 20 millimeter cannons that will allow you to...
In other words, it'll make you a P-51 Mustang fighter from World War II.
Yes. Or an A-10 Warhog. Either one, whichever your preference is. It doesn't matter. The point is, it is what gives you the sustenance that you need to remain a true sovereign individual. To carry on with your day and to carry on with your life and establish that sovereignty and maintain it for our posterity. That's what this comes down to. Now, when you have individuals like wrinkled Trumpelstiltskin and this VO5 hot oil snake substance that he's trying to peddle and sell, you know, it reminds me of a cartoon that I watched earlier that Randy pointed out to me about this individual who looks like Snodley Snodgrass with a horrible tan.
Snidely Whiplash.
Snidely Whiplash. You know, this horrible tan, selling this bottle of
Dr. Utopia's Ism.
Dr. Utopia's Ism. Now, guess what, folks? Not only do we have socialism writhing around like a snake in the grass in this world, but we have communism, fascism, Fabianism. Now we have Trumpism. That's what I'm going to call it, Trumpism. It is the Trumpism that is going to suck the life force out of us. He's all about creating jobs. He wants to do this. He wants to build a wall. None of those things matter if he's willing to violate our Constitution, our shared Constitution.
Absolutely.
He has no problem with violating it. He remember, folks, he has said, ultimately, we don't need guns. Meaning, ultimately, if I have the authority, I'm going to make it to where nobody has guns. I'm going to confiscate guns because he thinks that that's going to solve the problem of gun violence. Guess what? You might as well get rid of vehicles, too. Any motor
Oh, no,
vehicle whatsoever.
because then he can't have his limousine parking lot.
But I'm getting to that. Because, see...
I know, but my tongue is firmly in my cheek, folks.
See, with the limousine parking lot, he'll be able to have those because he's an elitist piece of garbage. He is a totalitarian.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to. He is no different than what Adolf Hitler espoused, and he learned from Hitler, folks. He studied Hitler.
Well, that's why he kept a book of Hitler's speeches next to his bed. Not Mein Kampf, but a book of his speeches.
Yeah. Wow.
And how to manipulate audiences.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear, what's he doing with the Republic? Manipulating audiences. Oh crap, folks! You really are smarter than this. Don't suffer from the ostrich syndrome that afflicts so many in the gutless opposition party. Please don't. You're better.
Stop buying into this drivel, this oratory diuretic sludge of let's make America great again. America has always been great since its inception. It will always remain great. And as I posted out to, or tweeted out to our community of true American patriotic conservatives and ultimate sovereigns of the United States earlier, the Wright Flyer is not going to be silenced. We will speak to every inch of every single evil issue that is coming our way, whether it's an individual, whether it's a piece of legislation, whether it is an act at any level, local, state, federal, no matter what, until our dying breath. We will not be silenced. We will not be silenced. We will speak up for you. We will speak up for everybody else, no matter what the issue is. But the only way that that's going to remain steadfast and firm is if we all take that notion.
And folks, let's, as we bring this debate program to a close, because granted we are at about 1 hour and 12 minutes, and while that's short, I do want to keep this shorter than the debate itself. Otherwise, Dr. Carson might just have a seizure on stage and fall off and die. So let's conclude this the way that Cruz concluded the debate. The only thing that matters, folks, is the Constitution. And that's why Jeremy and I have stated time and time again that the United States Constitution is the only litmus test to be used when determining whether or not a candidate is qualified to be president of the United States. That's the only litmus test. That is the litmus test we use. That is the litmus test you use. Because when you use that, that frees you to see the truth. And when you see the truth, you know exactly what is or is not good for the country. Folks, we can't make the decision for you how to vote. We're not telling you how to vote. Only you can make that decision. And with that said, it is time for us to begin our descent. Yes, Jeremy, get that last point in.
I just want to say thanks again to the Twitter community of individuals, Red Nation Rising, Voice of Paul Revere,
Don Costello,
everyone who were associated with
Paul Revere, yes, in case that didn't get heard.
Rising Tide, every single one of those individuals.
You guys are awesome.
Yeah,
you are the founding fathers of this generation. Even if you're a founding mother, you are the founding fathers of this generation. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we couldn't do this without you. We do this for you. We ask that you join us, that you give us your ideas by either commenting here on our YouTube page, our Facebook page, or our Google Plus page, or you follow us at Radio Aviation X, at Radio Aviation EX, Radio Aviation EX on Twitter. And we will keep you up to date for all of this. Flight attendants coming back with the last round of alcohol. As always, folks, I'm Randy Wright, your captain, and I'm joined by my first officer, Jeremy Grapenton. Thank you for choosing to fly the Wright Flyer. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next time. Do take care. We will see you the next time we take off over the friendly airwaves, leaving you with an indelible yet pure sense of enlightenment, as we always do. Thank you. See you next time.